Narcissists do not fall apart the second you leave. That is not how it works. They do not sit in a corner holding their head in their hands, crying about everything they did to you. They do not feel a sudden wave of clarity where they see the truth and want to make things right. That is a fantasy that belongs to people with empathy. Instead, they get busy rewriting the story. They take the truth, rip it to pieces, and rebuild it into something they can live with. Something where they are the wounded hero and you are the reckless villain. In their mind, you gave up. You abandoned the relationship. You walked away without any cause. They tell themselves they did everything they could, but you were never satisfied. Nothing was enough for you. They repeat this story to themselves until they believe it. And this story is not for your benefit, it's for theirs. Because if they accepted the truth that their cruelty drove you away, they would have to feel something they cannot tolerate. Can you guess what that is? Accountability. The details of their version are carefully edited. The manipulation is gone, the gaslighting has vanished, the emotional starvation erased completely. And then, as their mind reshapes reality, paranoia slips in like poison. You must have been cheating. You must have had someone else all along. Because in their mind, nobody leaves unless there is something better waiting. That is how they operate. So they believe everyone else is the same. They cannot imagine loyalty because they have never lived it. They cannot imagine honesty because their own words have always been calculated. The collapse does not come in one violent crash. It creeps in slowly. It begins with arrogance, shifts into restlessness, and eventually becomes a quite gnawing pain. You may think your absence means nothing to a narc, but it means everything, just not in the way you hoped. At first, they feel free. They tell themselves they have won. They call you the problem and convince themselves they finally have peace. But relief is not peace. Relief is temporary. And soon the stillness starts to itch. Your silence does not affirm their control. It basically threatens it. I'm Danish, a narcissistic abuse recovery professional. Today I'm going to prove all of what I just said. I'm going to take you inside the mind of a narcissist and we will understand what a narcissist goes through when you disappear from their life. We will walk through day 1, day 15 and day 45 so you can see the slow, unsettling, unraveling for what it truly is. Before we get started with day 1, a quick announcement. I'm doing a training, a powerful one, on Master Coparenting with a Narcissist this month. If you're dealing with a narc and you want to know how to corner them, how to save your children, so on and so forth, book your spot right now. Link is in the description of this episode. Day 1. When you disappear, they feel an initial wave of relief, as I said. They have been emotionally pulling away for a long time, dismantling the relationship in small and strategic ways. Every cold shoulder, every backhanded comment, every silent treatment was part of a quiet sabotage. They wanted you to be the one to leave so they could play the victim. Now that you are gone, they breathe easier. Why? Because they think they have won, that they are free now. They do not feel guilt or remorse. They do not feel sadness. They do not replay the ways they hurt you. Instead, they begin spinning the narrative where they are blameless, spotless. You gave up. You abandoned them. You left them when they needed you the most. That's what they say. In their mind, they are the wronged one, the eternal victim. They tell themselves, I tried everything, while conveniently erasing the cruelty, the manipulation, and the moments where they made you feel like a trash can. And almost instantly, their paranoia starts writing new chapters. You must be cheating. You must have left for someone else. This is not based on evidence. It's based on how their mind works. They believe everyone is like them. That is collective projection. Disloyal, impulsive, ready to replace someone the moment the excitement fades. They do not see your silence as grief. They label it as betrayal. That label becomes their shield against accountability. There is no reflection or remorse, only a twisted story where they are the victim and you are the villain. Now let's move to day 15. They did not think you would last this long. In their mind, you were too emotionally dependent to survive without them. They believed you would crumble within a week, that you would reach out, cry, beg, and fall back into the chaos. They saw themselves as your oxygen, grandiosity, the source of your value, identity, and stability. They were convinced you could not function without their approval. They believed your nervous system was permanently wired to their abuse, trauma bonded, and that life without them would feel suffocating. They thought their voice would echo in your head forever, that their presence, even in absence, would poison your peace and block your healing. They imagined that if you tasted freedom, you would choke on it. But here you are, 15 days in, you have not said a word, no texts, no breakdowns, no guilt ridden confessions, just silence. And that silence is not empty to them, it is deafening, louder than any screaming match they ever baited you into. It sends a message they cannot ignore. You're not under their control anymore. Now, the panic begins to creep in, quietly and secretly. They stalk your social media under fake accounts. They send subtle feelers through mutual friends. They watch for any sign that you still think about them. They need to know they still occupy space in your mind. But the more time passes, the more they fear the truth. What is that? That they no longer exist in your world in the way they need to. And nothing is more threatening to a narc than being irrelevant. Time passes by, they do not hear from you, and that is where they start rotting in their own presence because they can't be alone. You defined them. They depended on you more than you depended on them, and they start feeling it. By the time it's day 45, the slow rot has set in. This is when it starts to hurt them in ways they will never admit out loud. They thought replacing you would be easy, that they could find someone new, jump into a fresh relationship, and feel the same rush of power they felt with you. They were certain there would always be another person ready to give them that high. But no matter how quickly they move on, it never works. It always falls flat because they're not looking for love, are they? They are looking for you in someone else. They watch the new supply, the new person trying to mold them into your image. They search for your reactions, your energy, the way you made them feel powerful. But it does not happen. It cannot happen. And soon desperation turns into contempt. They begin to resent the new person. Why? Because they're not you. They cannot be you. They do not speak like you. They do not believe in them the way you once did. They do not give them the same look in the eyes that told them they were worth saving. That realization cuts deep. It shatters something inside them that they will never show anyone. They bury it under arrogance. They drown it in distraction. They tell themselves you were never that special. But deep down, they know you were. All of that is not to say that the next source of supply is not good enough. It is a narcissist who is extremely impatient at this point of time that they want the same kind of validation and idealization without putting in the work. So they become reactive, very impatient because they're wounded, which is what reveals their true self to the second source of supply. And that's the reason behind quick devaluation and a complete discard. From here, the cycle begins again. What do? They jump from one partner to another, always searching, comparing, but never satisfied. They will say every new partner is boring, ungrateful, and not enough. But the truth is, the problem is not the people they choose. The problem is the emptiness inside them that no one will ever be able to fill again, ever. You become the standard they cannot reach quickly, the bond they never deserved, the loss they will never recover from. They will never admit they miss you, because to say that would mean admitting they were the problem. So they keep running, which is what they know to do. Straight into more emptiness, surrounded by new faces, haunted by your absence, punished every single day by the same silence they once celebrated. And here is the part they will never tell you or anyone. It is not that they loved you and lost you. It's that they controlled you and lost control. And for someone like them, that is worse than heartbreak. It is the one thing they cannot forgive no matter what you do. And that's why they become so bitter. Their craziness comes to surface, and a lot of them feel under attack, extremely paranoid. They start believing and thinking everybody is trying to bring them down because the anchor, the barrier, the protector, which was you, is gone, and they are now exposed to the reality as it is without anything to cover them. Let me know what your experiences are with this. What have you observed? I will talk to you in the next one. Until then, as always, let the healing begin and continue.